The FIA WTCC is delivered by DHL.
Cars on the formation lap. Let's hear what Rob Huff is doing as he gets ready to race in Slovakia.
Welcome aboard my Honda Civic Type R for race 2. Had a good opening race. Fantastic start from 6th on the grid to finish P3. Even better result for Thiago. We just couldn't quite overcome Meli in the last couple of corners, the last couple of laps. But we've changed the balance of the car a little bit, so hopefully the car will be better in this race. Obviously, more potential to attack the guys in front, so we're looking for less understeer. Slovakia always eats the tyres very quickly, and you end up with a lot of understeer very quickly. But so far so good. Hopefully make another belting start. Hopefully jump 1 or 2 at the beginning, so we can get around the first couple of corners nice and cleanly. Bag ourselves some more points. That's what it's about this year, bagging points, being in it at the end of the championship, and hopefully get another good result. Car feels good, I feel good, making sure everything on the steering wheels, as you can probably see, my steering wheel's got 1 million buttons on it. I'm not really sure what most of them do, but the important ones I do, so that's good. Everything's set in the right place now, and ready for the start. So some fun, kids. Cheers.
Now he's talked to us. His engineer will go back through with him this setting, that setting, preload, engine mapping, launch control mapping, all the other bits and pieces have to be exactly the right setting for the start, and you may well then have to change them for the race itself. But he will double check and go through that again to absolutely make certain that Rob has got exactly the settings he needs to launch that car perfectly off the line.
Absolutely. The driver's race engineer is very much like his second brain, because there's quite a lot going on at this point, and these guys need to get into a bit of a focus for the race and start. There's a lot going on, and therefore all those sort of bells and whistles that the drivers can discuss with their engineers, it's just another set of eyes, another set of ears, and make sure that nothing's left to chance, and allow the driver to concentrate on making the best getaway possible.
Well, there is the Lada garage, there is Yves Martin at the Citroën garage. Ivan Muller on pole, Nicky Katzberg alongside, Jose Maria Lopez third, and on fresher tyres, Norbert Michelisz fourth. Rob Huff fifth, hoping to jump a couple from the start. Huffy, of course, was third in the opening race here. And for Norby, on the left-hand side of the screen, behind that yellow Lada, he's got to get down the inside into the first corner and somehow try and get in amongst those Citroëns if he wants to win this race. He's got to blow by Katzberg, whether Katzberg makes a brilliant start or an awful one, and try and get in amongst the Citroëns, or at least hook up behind them and try and pile on the pressure. Cars are on the grid, the green flag waves, the main race in Slovakia is about to get underway. On the right, pole sitter Ivan Muller, on the left, the Lada of Nicky Katzberg. Red lights on, away they go. Long run down to the first corner. Michelisz looks outside, he's got to look inside as Katzberg tries to catch up with Lopez, who's made a brilliant start and will go by Ivan Muller to lead into the first corner. The Hondas are 3 wide, and it looks as though Huff is in the middle, Montero on the outside, Norby on the inside, little bump with Rob, Montero's got the run, and Katzberg is inside Muller running down to turn 2. This is going to be ballsy from Katzberg to try and stay there. He's got the track position. Muller hangs on the outside but can't hold on, has to just breathe off the throttle or risk running through the gravel trap. Katzberg up to second. That's an electrifying start from Lopez, but Katzberg giving himself a great opportunity as he splits the Citroëns. And in fourth place, Thiago Montero ahead of Rob Huff and Norbert Michelisz, and then Tarquini on the grass, and he's going to come alongside Ugo Valenti, doesn't get alongside his teammate. Wow, all arms and elbows in the first couple of corners. Dramatic start, but they all got through safely.
What a great gift for Pachito Lopez there, now leading the race, because Katzberg's race pace is probably not going to be that great in this first part of the race, which will back up Ivan and the Hondas, which would be the main threat to any chance of victory.
Well, the car's running quicker this year than the outright track record in the race from last year. That was a 2:05.7. We're down in the 2:04.3s in the opening race. This race is 1 lap longer. They'll carry a fraction more fuel to the grid as a result. You don't just fill the tank and let them go. Oh, Frederick Ekblom down the inside of John Philippi. And this is the favoured overtaking place in the twisty tight stuff. If you've got a good chassis, that's where you use it. Of course, you need a good brake pedal under you as well. There's his teammate Ted Björk. So Ekblom ahead of Philippi, who started 12th, Ekblom 17th. So Philippi did not get a good getaway. He's now behind Tom Coronel, who clearly has moved up the order a little as well. Well then, 62, that's the blue car of Ted Björk. And a little more relaxed looking Lada pit wall. Nobody's collided with anybody else on the first lap in yellow cars, so that's always good news. And Nicky Katzberg is second. And Ivan Muller is not going to get to him in the first turn. So despite the Sitchin's straight line pace, that's a quick little bunny, that Lada out front.
Absolutely, but Lopez has got himself a second lead on that opening lap, and he'll be very pleased to see a yellow car in his rearview mirror and not the teammate Ivan.
Yeah, I think he would be very happy to see anybody in his rearview mirror in the opening lap rather than Ivan Muller. Anything between the teammates is always good news for one and bad news for the other. And again for Muller, the imperative now to get a hurry up and somehow find a way past Katzberg from a little too far back is going to be increasing with every metre. This is a long lap, 5.92 kilometres. So getting on for 6Ks, we've got a dozen laps to go, or now 11 laps including this one. So there's a decent distance, but there are still only 3 or 4 genuine overtaking opportunities if the driver in front doesn't throw it into the weeds.
Yeah, absolutely, and don't forget this race is 1 lap longer, which doesn't sound very much, but as you said, Martin, because this lap is so much longer than the normal circuits we go to, being nearly 6Ks, then it does make quite a big difference.
I tell you what, if Thiago could have paid for an extra lap at Paul Ricard in the main race, I'm sure he would have, because I think he would have got by Jose Maria Lopez and won the race in that one. It can make a huge difference. As you say, if you're struggling carrying a lot of extra weight, the further you have to carry it, the more it hurts. Whether you're a human or a car, it doesn't make any difference at all.
Absolutely, and Honda's strength here today is their tyre management and their race pace in those last 4 laps. So it's a bit of a shame for them that they didn't get the rub of the green on that first lap. Yeah. There's still a few cars ahead of them, which will make challenging for victory difficult now.
Fastest race lap, first time round, was from Jose Maria Lopez. Fastest first sector on this lap from Ugo Valente, who's at the back of this queue you're looking at. There's his yellow Lada ahead of Ted Björk's Volvo. They're 7th and 8th. Incident involving cars 10 and 68. Well, that is Nicky Katzberg and Ivan Muller under investigation. Incident?
Don't remember seeing anything that would warrant an investigation, but
I think either of them hit each other.
Maybe we missed something there.
We'll take a look in the archive and see if the EBS guys can find anything, but I certainly didn't see any contact. All right, they were both being ballsy as you like down into turn 2, but there was no contact between them. Let's see what the stewards come up with. They're going to investigate it anyway.
Lopez increasing his lead that time around by another half a second, and he knows that he's going to struggle the last 4 laps, so this is where he's got to build that lead in case the champagne cork that is Katzberg pops and some of these quicker cars get through.
Well, ostensibly quicker, in all case he did out-qualify them, and the Lada, he was also fastest in free practice too, wasn't he, ahead of the 2 Volvos, so it has got decent pace.
Yeah, but race pace is a different thing, and I think that what Honda showed in race 1 is that they've probably got the fastest race car over the 12 laps.
Katzberg. Well, let's hear from Jose Maria Lopez.
You know, something I cannot leave, I need to pull out. I don't want to leave.
He wants to pull out, he wants to lift.
I didn't quite get that.
No? Sorry, Winker, don't quite get your banter. Not sure what he needs. Okay, let's watch Ivan Muller, pole man, Nicky Katzberg, the yellow car, on board with Katzberg. Lopez goes through. Katzberg, Muller, oh, okay, yes. All right, fair enough. Forgotten that, that was 2 laps ago. Where was Katzberg going exactly as Muller came across to the apex?
I think that's a racing incident. It looks like Ivan's sweeping in to try and get back on the back of Pachito.
Where's all the dust? Who's gone off? Has Huffy run over the dust? Katzberg on the outside, Lopez around. It's Lopez. Lopez kicked up the dust. Lopez ran wide, out of 9 up to 10, did he?
Valente's past Michelitz as well.
And Nicky Katzberg is challenging for the lead. It was out of turn 10 and 11. So Lopez we were watching the first cut, yes. They go, what happened? We didn't see it either. Lopez is about to be passed on pace, or is he by Katzberg? No, he holds the line into turn 1, and smoking up behind comes Thiago Montero, and Katzberg is still there and drives underneath the Citroen in his Lada. A sentence I didn't think 12 months ago I would ever say.
Where's Muller?
Muller is 8th.
He's 8th.
Okay, we need to see what happened in all of that. There's Muller at the back of the queue behind Ted Björk. So Lopez made a mistake. Wow, let's hear from Lopez.
Something is wrong, something happened. I don't know what happened. Big vibration in the back.
Okay, so he was complaining about damage to the splitter on the in-lap at the end of the opening race. He suddenly has a big vibration, or had a big vibration. I don't know what happened, which is not, I went off.
Cause and effect there, Martin. I think he may have just made a mistake and then has a vibration. But certainly his race pace before that was not that of somebody that's got a damaged splitter. So.
Okay, best lap, 206.6. Last lap, 209.6.
Yeah, he's definitely had an off.
Yeah. Well, we saw the dust, didn't we? And I thought it was further back in the field, and I was looking to see where Huffy had got to, or Norby, or Thiago, or somebody. But he went off, and Muller went off, presumably, at pretty much the same place.
And Muller has obviously had tunnel vision as well, but...
Well, the good news for Katzberg, the race leader, no further action. Well, here's Muller, bumps down the inside of Rob Huff. Huff's inside him there, has to avoid that enormous tyre stack that would have written off the car, and Muller's off. So that's what happened with Muller. That's why he went off. Okay, that was the classic Ivan Muller bumping and boring his way in, wasn't it? And then gets given as good as he got.
But he'd already lost the position, Martin. We've obviously...
And here's Lopez. Now, that's the pass. That's not where he went off. Yes, you're right, because he dropped behind and...
He was already behind a Honda, so Muller had already lost some ground.
So we haven't got on board from Lopez of where he went bouncing across the ground, and it was over the bridge, somewhere around turn 10. Wow, what a dramatic lap for Citroen. Nicky Katzberg leads and is free of any further penalty. Moment to get our breath back. After 5 breathless laps, what does Jose Maria Lopez think?
I don't know what it is. There is a big vibration on the brake. I don't know what it is.
Still complaining about a vibration that he can't. I don't know what it is, or I don't know if it's the diff. I'm not sure, but again, he's clearly trying to race wheel to wheel at World Championship level and calmly in a back room try and download what he is feeling, translate it into what might be happening, and somehow try and tell the engineers.
Cause and effect there. I mean, he may have just made a mistake, gone off, and then damaged the brakes.
He ran wide there again, kicking up the dust on the exit.
Yeah, he's obviously struggling with a bit of an issue. This is bringing Montero right into play now as well, because as we know from race 1, his race pace is very, very good.
Yeah.
Once he got the lead in the last race, he was 1.2 seconds a lap quicker, and he didn't have much drop-off at all with his tyres.
I'm going to ask this now. Who was the last double race weekend winner? It was Lopez.
Or was it?
Must have been Lopez. Must have won 2 in the last season or the season before. But Thiago has got a chance to do that here. He won the opening race. He's in 3rd. He's less than a second behind Katzberg, the leader, who is not escaping. If he can... Oh, and Valente is out. Valente out of 5th position. He was in the battle with Huff, with Michaelis, with Björk, with Muller, and he is off and out of the race.
Is that the exit of turn 5?
It's in sector 2, so that sounds right. It's in all the twisty, convoluted corners. Katzberg leads. Lopez is not giving up. Look, he's showing the nose still on the run down the straight.
Again, his straight line speed is the best of those 3 cars, and he's using that to his advantage in this sector of the track.
And that weight is not hindering as much in the fast turn 1 or very fast turn 2 as it is in the twisty stuff. And look how much he closes down. He was only 4,600s behind at the line. He halves that between the start-finish and corner 2, but now the Lada will start to just creep away. And the question mark now for Lada and Nicky Katsberg is, how will the car work its tyres compared to the pursuers, Lopez, and perhaps more especially Thiago Monteiro?
Katsberg's pace is starting to drop off a little bit. He was only a 2:08 last time around. And as we can see in race 1, Tarquini struggled a little bit as well, slightly flattered by the battling cars behind him. So we know Lada hasn't got a great pace. Monteiro's definitely licking his lips now at 25 points for the second race.
Yeah. Montero in third, Huff in fourth. They were first and third in race 1. They could easily do the same. And behind Huff is Michelisz. We heard him hoping to try and jump the few, and so too was Huffy. It didn't happen at the start. Citroen certainly got lit up off the line, but a couple of laps in, both Lopez and Muller made fundamental errors, or something went wrong, and they both ended up in trouble, getting past and getting into battles that they really wanted to try and avoid.
Yeah, the big handicap for Montero is his straight line speed. As you can see, once we get onto the straights, Lopez just starts to edge away again. That makes it very, very difficult for Montero to have any chance of overtaking him on at least 50% of the circuit.
Yeah. Now he closes right in as they get onto brakes for turn 13, and look at the way that the Honda chews at the back of the Citroen, but as soon as Lopez picks up the throttle, that tiny increment is going to start to open. It'll be 2 or 3 car lengths by the end of the straight. Katsberg has opened up a little bit more of an advantage this time, 0.97 in front. He opened up half a second on Lopez, and he only needs to do that per lap for 3 or 4 laps, and suddenly it becomes a lot more of a target for Thiago Monteiro.
No question, Lopez struggling under braking now more and more. We can see that into turn 13 last time around. And although Katsberg looks like his pace is okay, he's still a good 1.2 seconds off what he was doing earlier in the race. Now, as we're over the halfway stage, we'll see tyre wear become more and more important to these guys.
Rob Huff starting to get impatient, shows his nose to Thiago Monteiro. Do you want me to go and have a go? I think I might be able to dust up Lopez. Well, certainly Thiago managed to unlock a Citroen to win the opening race. There's Ugo Valente, has finished both races here with a disappointment after starting the opener on pole.
Yeah, big disappointment considering his pace this weekend. You have to say no points other than what he scored. No points at all.
No points at all, I'm afraid. So, tough weekend for him. Gabrielli had a tough weekend in Paul Ricard. Tarquini is way down the order as well in 15th, won't score here. So as in race 1, the same 2 Ladas in trouble, and the only other one is now leading this race, not just scoring well, but scoring handsomely. And now you can't see him in the same shot unless we have a longer shot of Lopez versus the Hondas. Uh-oh, and here comes Ted Bjerg. Ted Bjerg on board behind Huff is Michelisz. Bjerg is right there as well, not far away. His best race lap, 0.04 of a second quicker than Norby's. He's at the back of this slipstreaming train, so he will stay in touch with this group.
Yeah, already we're only in the second sector, and Lopez has lost a second already.
Yeah. Oh. Katsberg running out very wide there. I thought maybe a little too wide, but he still leads. Nicky Katsberg in the yellow Lada leads now by 1.2 seconds over Jose Maria Lopez. Pulled out 3/10 on the world champion on that lap, half a second the lap before. Katsberg has got his nose to the grindstone. He can't afford to make any mistakes, but he must push with everything the car has got and just hope that Lopez is as strong in defence as he is in attack, because Lopez needs to hold off Montero and Huff and Michelisz, and possibly Ted Bjerg as well.
These guys fighting and flattering Katsberg a little bit. That mistake on that last time around cost him a second. So those 3/10 quicker, it should have been 1.3.
Yeah. Well, you can only race with what you've got, and that's what Katsberg and Lopez are at the moment. Montero may have a quicker car, but where is he going to be able to use it? He's certainly keeping enough distance in front of Huff and Michelisz. Norby now in that grey, white and red
Lopez starting to slide a lot more now. Tyre wear becoming more and more of an issue for him.
couple of years ago, he was quite happy with an oversteery car, a bit of a tail-happy car. He has finessed up his Citroen driving technique to the extent where it almost never breaks loose, and it's almost always Ivan whose car looks the more of a handful. Any time that Lopez is sliding, you know that he is pushing the car beyond what the owner's manual says it will do. Mikulic's getting in very deep behind Huffy there and having to really compromise that sequence of corners to avoid clattering the back of the number 12 car. On board with Thiago. And you just can see that that Citroen is creeping away. Not by much, but just by enough.
That's the issue, and on the exit of this turn 13, you'll see Montero probably start to close up again. Yeah, exactly. So this is the frustrating thing for Montero, but it's nothing that wasn't new from race one. But he's just hoping that his tyre degradation will get worse in this this final third of the race.
Well, it's a battle now, isn't it? Whether the extra weight wears Lopez's tyres faster than the turbulent air and lack of downforce wears Montero's tyres right behind him. It's who runs out of tyre or brake first.
Meanwhile, every lap this is going on, it's really helping Nicky Katzberg.
Yep, 1.15 in front. He was as quick. Lopez was as quick in the first sector, a tenth slower in the second sector, but 3/10 quicker in the final sector. Lopez finds that pace towards the end of the lap.
I don't know what to do. I don't know. It's too risky. I have to touch. I don't know. I have run in the ocean, so I don't know for it.
Speaking from the bottom of the swimming pool, Jose Maria Lopez, and you know, if we're finding it hard to understand, his engineers will find it possibly equally difficult to understand, or they may know what direction they're looking in, and they may just be looking for some confirmation from him whether he can or can't do something for them.
Didn't quite catch what he said, but uncharacteristically, he sounded stressed.
Yeah. And
normally, when Pachita's on the radio, he's very calm, but he sounds pretty stressed.
Well, this is Paul Ricard playing itself out all over again, except Paul Ricard, he was hustling away from Montero almost on his own until the last 2 or 3 laps. Now we've got 3 to go after this, but he's had 6, 7 laps of pressure already. In fact, 9 laps of pressure from Montero already. So he's not been able to drive his own race or sort out his own problem. Montero is just like a bull in a china shop. He is just going at it, and he's so close now as they come over the rise down to turn 10. Montero is all over the back of the Citroen. We're looking back from Huff at Michelitz.
Starting to show his nose a bit more, starting to be a bit more aggressive, Montero. And I have to say, Thiago is a really, really lovely guy, and he's very much a confidence driver. So having won the race before, having sort of been the stronger Honda by luck or judgment, he's getting that confidence, and you can see he's really got the bit between his teeth.
And last year really turned around his World Touring Car career, because although he ended up somehow behind Gabriele in points, he was so often the quicker of the 2 Honda drivers, the better placed, the more racy of the 2. It just didn't work out in the end, because the final race weekend that he scored more points than his teammate. And that confidence going through the winter and coming in, you know, development of the car, and now being able to take the battle to a 2-time world champion and his 4-time world champion teammate and catch and pass them, as you say, that gives you a huge amount of confidence. Now Lopez has taken half a second out of Katzberg on the last lap.
Is Katzberg now in trouble with his tyres?
Well, he is, and Lopez is just deciding not to talk on the radio and get on with driving what's left of his car. And he may not yet have given up any chance of winning this. He might suddenly be starting to think, I can get to that ladder. I've got another 2 laps after this. I can do him.
Yeah, and Huff's starting to drop back a little bit. And I have to say, Ivan Muller's been very quiet since he's had that incident earlier on with the Hondas.
Yeah, he's 3/10 of a second off the pace on pretty much every lap, although he's now starting to recuperate and is a second behind Ted Björk for 6th. But he hasn't been able to close, so he's bounced over the grass somewhere and damaged something a little bit, and it doesn't have to be a big bit, it doesn't have to be visible, it just has to have an effect, because these cars are so closely matched. We're talking about, he dropped a massive amount, that's 1/10 of a second. It's 1/10 of a second! It is a massive amount, but it's a tiny amount as well. The gaps, though, are so infinitesimal between these cars.
Well, only have to look at Mach 3, where three cars from two brands set an identical time to realise how close it is.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, you know, although Lada fluffed their run, there was nothing to choose at speed between Citroën and Honda. And that's good news for Montero, and may not be good news for Katzberg, because here comes Lopez. Katzberg has made a mistake, and Lopez is challenging for the lead. Down the front straight, Lopez has got the speed, and Katzberg ran out of grip at the exit of 13 into 14. He is now going to have to defend with everything he can muster for 2 laps. He's got a double world champion with his tail up. Katzberg's running out of tyres and brakes. Lopez is running out of tyres and brakes. It could all fall into the lap of Thiago Montero in the closing 2 laps here in Slovakia.
Yeah, very, very close. The only advantage for Katzberg is that Lopez has been moaning about the brakes, so despite his straight line speed advantage, he might not be able to carry a move off with his brake issue.
Lopez has been moaning. We've heard Katzberg may equally been moaning, we just haven't heard that particular bit of team radio. Penultimate lap of the main race in Slovakia. The world champion who won the main race in France, Thiago Montero, who was second in the main race in France, are currently chasing the race leader in the yellow Lada, Nicky Katzberg. Never won a race in the World Touring Car Championship, I think I'm right in saying, and he has got the opportunity to now. He's led almost from the start, but has suddenly faded in the last couple of laps, and what was a 2-second plus advantage over Lopez is now down to barely a 2-car length advantage, and at times not even that. But look at Lopez's body language as Huff has gone off. He's run out of something, so Mikulits has moved up 1, Huff has lost 4th, and you saw the body language from Lopez. He was there on the straight defending against Montero. He's shutting an option for Montero, and that then gives Katzberg again half a second of breath to just draw and try and plan a defence.
Lopez mentally is in attack and defence at the same time at the moment, and don't forget he's also got a car that he's not very happy with, so looks like he might get a run on him this time, because the straight line speed of the Citroën is far superior to the Lada.
And the traction is what counts there. He turns inside the Lada. Katzberg comes across the line. If the checkered flag was waiting, Lopez would have won it, but he goes across the line on the final lap by 0.02 of a second and around the outside. Thiago is throwing everything at this. Now he's got to try and cut back underneath Lopez and Katzberg and see if he can't take the lead from 3rd place. He's got Mikulits right behind him. Montero is into 2nd. It is like the last lap a fortnight ago in Paul Ricard. Lopez leads, Montero is coming, and Norby is trying to get underneath Katzberg. Katzberg on the outside and on the utter limit, and through goes Montero for the moment, but Lopez may have made the critical gap over the chasing pack as they squabble to get by the Lada. Lopez could be on his way to win number 2 of the season. Astonishing, he fell off the road, gave away the lead of the race to Nicky Katzberg, who could not have held it, even if it had been the opening race 1 lap shorter. Then Lopez would have won it by 200s. As it is, Katzberg now desperately trying to hang on to the final podium spot ahead of Norbert Mikulits.
And that sequence of corners is why Jose Maria Lopez is a back-to-back double world champion. He's got a car he's not happy with. He's got issues. He's had it mirrors all race, and he's still managed to pass Katzberg, who's now really struggling to hold on to 3rd.
Yeah, Katzberg in 3rd. 3 corners to go, and he is just easing away from Norby. Norby tried to go a long way around the outside, and Norby's going to have to watch out for Ted Björk. Björk suddenly looking ultra racy here. He's been content to follow these guys and wait for an opportunity. The Volvo may be lacking a 1/10 of a second a lap on the cars in front of him, and Katzberg and Mikulits getting at it for the final spot on the podium. Last lap of the race here in Slovakia. Huge crowd for Mikulits here, and it'll be even huger next week. Lopez is being chased down by Montero, who's not going to catch him unless he goes off, and Katzberg, if he can hold the inside line. Norby is coming, and so is Björk, and Björk's looking for 4th place, goes inside and around Norbert Mikulits. And Jose Maria Lopez wins in Slovakia. I made it.
it's amazing. I don't understand. How you hold on? Oh my God. He was like, oh.
Unbelievable. Live reaction as he crosses the line from Jose Maria Lopez, and he's still going on, I'm sure. What emotion from him. Well, Ivan Muller said after qualifying, the team on the simulator suggest we should be able to take pole. After free practice, said, me and Petito just went, not a chance. And in the end, Ivan did take pole by the tiniest margin, and Lopez there winning by 0.7 of a second from Thiago Monteiro, a race that looked lost despite the fact that he took the lead into the first corner. He led in the first corner, he led in the last corner, and very little of the space in between. And Nicky Katzberg, third at the line. What a great race for him. Thiago Monteiro, winner of the opening race, second in the main race. Big weekend, hatful of points for him. Ted Björk, what an opportunist move as well. Bided this time, kept his powder drive until the final corner. Got by Norbert Michelisz for fourth place. Volvo's best result of the season. The man in the blue car. And it's time for us to catch our breath.
The FIA WT.
The race leader comes down pit road behind the Sebastian Loeb Racing Citroën of Frenchman Grégoire de Moustier. Jose Maria Lopez, our main race winner here in Slovakia, as he was in France. He has won the main race in both of the season opening race weekends, and on neither occasion was it even remotely as comfortable a race as he would have hoped or liked, or maybe wished he could have had. Both times he was under the gun from start to finish, and somehow he came up with the goods again.
I think when on reflection, this will probably be one of his most cherished victories, because I think it's one that he didn't expect, and he obviously was really struggling at one point. So yeah, you can see how much this means to him.
There will definitely be a tear in the eye when Alex Legui gets to him, because he says, you know, when I was driving single-seaters, sometimes I was too Latin. I've gradually, as I've got older, I've managed to work that mostly out of my system. He doesn't have many hot-headed moments on the track, but boy, when the emotion is allowed free rein, it comes to the surface, doesn't it?
This is going to be in direct contrast to how Ivan Muller's feeling right now, having started from pole position in the identical sister car, of course.
Yeah, a remarkable qualifying effort from Ivan, and you have to say from Nicky Katzberg. Was a great drive from Jose Maria Lopez. I've got to say, Nicky Katzberg, I think, probably equal drive for the day. Thiago Monteiro has had a great weekend, a win and a second place. He leads the championship by 1 point. Now they need to get their Q3 act together so they can score extra championship points in the final part of qualifying, because Thiago was only 7th in Q2, didn't get through into those top 5 qualifying spots. But from 7th on the grid to second place, hard to argue with that, isn't it? That's a good main race for Thiago.
Absolutely, and 4 brands in the top 4. Very, very close.
Okay, one Lada there, and the other two were sort of hors de combat, went missing in action. Gabriele Tarquini and Hugo Valente in both races. But Nicky Katzberg, yeah, good race weekend for him. Really good race weekend. Let's hear, though, from our race winner with Alex Legui.
So many celebrations down here. Pachito Lopez, you win the main race here at Slovakia Rig. What a race, what a battle. We heard you on the comms. What was going on?
Did you hear me
Yeah.
speaking? I was desperate. I mean, I think any person in the world, he would have stopped. I don't know. I just see the rim, and it's, first of all, I'm very lucky. I thank God. I mean, a normal car wouldn't finish. We will not finish the race. It's amazing, this car. I don't know how it didn't broke. I was putting away. I would say, okay, doing my thing and concentrate. The start was fantastic. And then from lap 3, I started to feel a big noise from the back of the car. And the car was slowing down. I was losing the pedal of the brakes as well. So, yeah, I did 10 laps like this, and it was, yeah. I mean, every single meter, I was thinking this is my last corner.
I have to say, you're normally so calm, but we sort of sensed this pressure on you.
I mean, you know, any race, any point you can get is important, especially when you see your teammate is a bit in difficulties, when you see the competition strong, every point is important. And watching Thiago, that he did 2 amazing races, you know, I knew, you know, but it was, you know, it's just waiting until the car broke at one point, but then 4 laps to go, I say, okay, if he has to brake, he will brake. I need to try to win at least, you know. I had the car to win, so I went for it, and it worked. So thanks to my team again, thanks to Citroën and everybody who helped me to do this. It's amazing. I won in Slovakia, an amazing place, so it's very important for me and for everybody. So, but most important today, I've been the lucky guy.
Congratulations, well done.
The more he works, the luckier he gets. That's the old phrase, isn't it? Well, you know, it's that thing where, okay, it's going to break one more corner. Come on, Carl, one more corner. And then you get to the start line. I'm not coming into the pits. One more lap. And eventually, somehow, he worked out a way to get the car back up to the sharp end. And damn it if he didn't go and win the race with a car that he didn't think was going to finish a lap under him on every lap he drove it. And as he said, we talked about this in race 1, when you've got a car to win, try and win. When you haven't, try and get any single point you can. And that's where he started off in this race, trying to win it. Then he was down into any position is better than being parked in the pits. And then suddenly, it all came back to, let's try and win it.
4 laps to go, you would never have put your money on Lopez there.
Not a chance.
Done an amazing job to do that. You know, fortune favours the brave, and Lopez has really capitalised on that.
Well, we sort of talked all day in the European Touring Car Cup and in the World Touring Cars about the benefits of never giving up. And again, we finished the race weekend with the ultimate example of never giving up. And that's what all of these drivers experience. You have to push it until there is no other option. Thiago Monteiro leaves here, and for the first time in his touring car career as a full-time driver, Jose Maria Lopez is not the championship leader at the end of a race weekend. That is the first time ever. But the gap is just 1 as we head to Hungary in a week.